Well, over the weekend, Carlton broke a 12-month drought in the AFL women's competition by beating the team they last beat, the GWS Giants in Blacktown. An impressive performance and their first win in Conference B. Perhaps this will lead them on to greater things. They've got a crunch game coming up against Geelong this Saturday, and should they win that, they're probably one, maybe two wins away from a semi-final berth. The run home is looking good. And a quick reminder to Carlton supporters, you can still get your AFLW membership if you head along to the website membership.carltonfc.com.au. If you're not that savvy on the computer, then just pick up the phone and call 1300-CARLTON for all the information you need on getting an AFLW membership with Carlton for season 2019. And to talk about that important win for the Blues on the weekend over the GWS Giants, we've got on the line Carlton midfielder Georgia G. Georgia, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you on the line. And is it a sense of relief having the monkey off the back? It's been 12 months, but a win on the board for the Blue Baggers.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a great feeling within the group at the moment after having a win on the weekend against GWS. And obviously the first two games we didn't put together for four quarters, but on Saturday I think we showed what we're capable of when we play our style of four quarters. So yeah, it was awesome to get the win, and I think everyone's pretty up and about at the moment. So that's what we can ask.
Now, as everyone can see on TV, your sleight of build, you're 5'3" tall. Not the smallest player in Carlton's list. That's 5'2" Shay Audley. How did you find the transition from youth girls football and everyone else being more sleight of build to playing the more physical women's football?
Yeah, it was a massive step up. Obviously, I'd come straight from youth girls, and I hadn't played any VFL or any footy against women. So it was pretty intimidating. And I think running out that first game, round one last year, was very nerve-wracking for me. But I think I pretty much just gave all I could and put everything I could out on the field, and I didn't really let my size stop me from doing anything that I could. So I had girls supporting me and I had my teammates around me, so that's all that mattered. And I just went out there and did what I could. And I think this year I've put on, 6 kilos. So I think that's a big step up, and it's probably good. I'm a bit more confident this year and comfortable being out there with putting on a bit more size. So, yeah.
Well, as you said, you put on more size. Can you give us an insight to, I guess, the weights, for example, that you've been lifting to try and help bulk up and be a more physical presence?
Yes, I've been drinking a lot of protein shakes and obviously doing weights after each training session. I don't lift very heavy, but it's getting me a bit stronger, so that's all I can ask.
As you mentioned, you didn't play state league football before you came into the AFLW, but you had the opportunity to, and which you did throughout 2018 with Carlton's VFLW side. How valuable was that experience of just getting a few games of senior women's football under your belt before coming into this season of AFLW?
Yeah, it was very helpful. I think after having only playing 6 games AFLW last year, which was a massive step up from the youth girls, I think having a VFL preseason under my belt, as well as playing, I think, 5 games, was very helpful. And obviously getting thrown into the middle helped a lot, getting thrown around by bigger women. And obviously the standard is a lot higher at VFL than it is youth girls. I think it really helps, and I think you can show that it shows that I'm a bit more confident out there this year, and obviously can take the game on a little bit more, which is good.
Everyone is their own best critic. If you were to look at your own game, how would you assess yourself, and what do you think you need to improve on to lift yourself to yet another higher standard?
Look, obviously there's always room for improvement, and I think just taking the game on a little bit more, being a bit more confident within my own ability. I think obviously hitting targets and whatnot up forward, there's a lot to improve on my end, but I'm certainly working towards those goals, and hopefully can fix those up by the end of the season.
This Saturday, you take on Geelong, and what an interesting game it is because of the conference system and how the top 2 make the semi-finals. A win against your fellow conference team could mean you've got 1 foot there in the semi-finals. Has that been talked about at this early stage of the week within the group of how important this clash is against Geelong and how close you could be to the finals?
Yeah, obviously that's our main focus is this weekend's game after having a win last week. And we know it's such a big game. I think any game is a big game. But to see that we're on top of the table at the moment is really crazy, and I think we're pinching ourselves. But obviously our main focus is just to look towards this game and then the game after. So we won't look too ahead to finals just yet until that comes. But yeah, it's pretty exciting to see that we could have a chance, but main focus is for this weekend.
And what do you think is the biggest threat from Geelong? Is it a case of that they've been a close-knit group for so long through the VFLW? Is it their height, or is it their physicality, particularly when you think of players like Hickey, Cranston and O'Connor?
Yeah, I think any of those factors could contribute to them being a big threat, but I think we're just a tight-knit group down at Carlton, so I think obviously they got high-profile names down there too, but I think if we work as a team, we can definitely hopefully take the points, but we'll see how we go on the weekend.
And just for a bit of insight off the field, as we know, all the footballers are part-time footballers at the moment. For yourself, Georgia, what are you doing outside football and post your football career? Mind you, we're talking a good 10 or more years from now. Where do you see yourself working?
Yeah, look, I'm not too sure at the moment. I just finished doing a diploma in sport and development at the end of last year. So at the moment, just focusing on my football and then looking to get some work after that. I'm not too sure where I want to be later on in my life, but I know that footy is what I want to do at the moment and hopefully work somewhere within that industry. But yeah, not too sure.
Well, Georgia, thank you very much for joining us here at Women's Australian Rules Football on RSN Carnival. And we wish you all the very best this Saturday as you take on the Cats for potentially a spot in the AFLW Final Series of 2019.
Thank you very much for having me.